gotta have more. Listen, you have to laugh to keep from crying right now, bro.
That
You
what
can't.
you just
You
said
can't
though.
just.
That was like a horror movie. What you just said.
Yeah, but you can't just live in this crazy world that we're in right now and not laugh a little bit. It's serious issues for sure, but some of them are self-inflicted.
But that part doesn't make it any better to me. Because here's the difference. At the end, Ebro, I don't end up going to where you go to. Where Ebro, at the end, when he feels at his most scared, just goes, I'm going to live in my castle and hide and be all right. That's not where I go mentally. So I just think, oh, God. I'm not saying you can't laugh. I definitely laugh. Yo, listen, Joe Biden trying to announce President Zelensky. Like, you have to understand. President Zelensky, man, that dude, to me, the guy's like a hero. Like, this dude is
I mean, he's laid it all on the
badass.
line for something he believes, his country, man.
He laid it all on the line, has been fighting for Ukraine. And, Ukraine is in a position where, in theory, they could end up winning this war against Russia. Like, it's been an incredible journey. And they're up against this evil, terrible, bad guy in Putin. And he blatantly called him Putin. I mean, that's bad. There's no way.
Bro.
No, I laughed. I was like, no, you're joking. This couldn't have. On this week,
disrespect.
hold on. This is it's not disrespect. No, disrespect would be intentional. But on this week at NATO, it's the biggest moment. All eyeballs are on the president to see if he can pull it together. And he's like, don't worry. I got it. I don't got it. Play the audio, Shawnee. It's the only thing you could say.
I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Come on.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Now he caught himself. Thank God he caught himself before he fully walked away from the podium. Like, he heard it in his head and was like, whoa. And he corrected himself, but I mean, the milk is out of the udder at that point. You have just called the man.
And like you
President
said,
Putin.
on a week where it was already like, bro, you got to step down. You got the big donors and George Clooney
Not
turning
good.
their back on you. It's a whole mess. And by the way, bro, as Rosenberg was saying, Zelensky is in a war. His whole country is upside down because of Putin. You're introducing him, and they're new allies to NATO. It's the reason they're in the conflict.
Right. This is what Putin didn't want, was Zelensky to be there at NATO.
And you call him President Putin. Now, that's levels, man.
You played yourself.
I don't even
Yeah,
know
that's-
if congratulations, you played yourself is big enough.
It's way worse than the Trump Vice President Trump. Like, play the Trump Harris one. That one, you understand that gaffe a little better. Go ahead, Shawnee.
Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president. I think she was not qualified to be president.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That one is like a little easy. It sounds insane, but you get it a little bit more. But the biggest congrats, though, is to us, because the dude got up there yesterday, and I know most people listening didn't watch it. I know most of us didn't watch it. He sat there for 1 hour fielding in-depth questions that literally, if Donald Trump were faced with the same questions,
Would never do it.
would never know how to answer. He would literally just go, "We're the best. We're gonna win.
No.
Everything's better
Rosenberg,
now."
Rosenberg, he would never allow 1 hour of questioning.
Wait, Ebro, hold on. Take your 1 hour. 1 hour in prime time. This wasn't 2:00.
No.
Biden went on TV for an hour at 8 and just sat there talking to reporters for an hour. Now everyone's going to talk about the Trump Harris misstep. See, I just had one. It happens. But he spent an hour making sense on important issues. So really hit us with the button, because as funny as we all think it is, these gaffes may be what ends up deciding the election. And that's a congrats.
Yeah. Because these are the isolated pieces that the people who are voting are going to see. So.
Yeah, but we're the ones playing the isolated pieces, so hit us with the button.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
Well, no,
we're furthering
to the whole thing. Exactly.
Right, but remember, this goes back to what I was just saying 20 minutes ago. Our culture is based on presentation and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
That is our culture. That is what gets the people going. That is what gets people tuned in. It wouldn't matter if we played these things if our culture was about actual productivity and accomplishments, which Joe Biden has a lot of them.
Right. But
Our culture's not about that, though.
No.
We shouldn't have to sell the fact that the guy who has the job right now has done a great job doing the job.
Well, politicians have
People would know. People would already know. They would already know, bro. It wouldn't even be up for debate. You would take what Donald Trump did in 2016 to 2020. You would look at the fact that he oversaw a pandemic that killed 2 million people, got nothing done, couldn't fill his cabinet. Nobody wanted to work for them. There was constant turmoil and chaos and turnover. He's a liar. He's a convicted felon. And oh, by the way,
at the end,
one of the most notorious child trafficking sexual abusers who died in jail. File came out from 2006 last week, and it has Donald Trump's name all over it.
Oh, you skipped over the insurrection.
Oh, yeah, and oversaw an insurrection at the end of his presidency.
But Ebro, he's funny, though.
Exactly.
But that's our culture, though.
Right.
Our culture is
Exactly.
based on presentation. Our culture
Right.
isn't based on substance.
Fact. And they've known this for a long time. And I've always said that they know that people vote ignorantly. It's a popularity contest.
Well, no, people
And
didn't,
now-
Johnny. People voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's the president.
I'm saying in general.
And by the way, if you recall in 2020, I've been calling him a gaff master since 2020. He was stuttering, stammering, and gaffing
He
in
did
2020.
he did always gaff. We did always call him the gaff master.
He was always the gaff master, and we talked about his age 4 years ago.
Right.
Our number one drop we play is him gaffing LL Cool J's name and calling him LLJ
Right.
Cool J.
But we can't deny that. Yes, we can't deny that it's a popularity contest, and most people don't dig deep.
Well,
So,
no, but Sean,
to your point.
why are you trying to jump in on this? Please stop. My point is, we voted already for Joe Biden. We shouldn't have to now toe the line that he's not a gaff master. Because people can't, in the Democratic Party, can't familiarize a new face and a new name that could potentially go against him. And oh, by the way, Democratic Party, you didn't have a Democratic primary because you already had your guy. You could have had one. You didn't. And so if now you're clamoring to find a new representative because you're worried about the gaff master that you've always had, who did a phenomenal job, you get the button. You should have presented more options.
Congratulations.
I wonder also, though,
Yourself.
as you're saying it, I do wonder, is the fact that it's now such an open conversation about the gaffing, I wonder if in a bizarre turn of events it could turn out to help him. In the sense that at least if he stays in this, people just know this happens. He says the wrong thing, but it's not because he's doing the wrong thing. It's just words.
Maybe, but I don't know if our culture will tolerate because old is bad. Not being tough is bad. Not being a great salesman, even if you're a liar, is bad.
Right.
Like, these are bad things in our culture because we talk about it all the time. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. People want the story, and they want a good one.
But while we're all laughing, us ironically and other people not ironically at the mistakes that he makes verbally, we really should be crying as a nation.
Of course.
Because but Shawnee, not for the reason you're saying, because you keep looking at it as like, see, because this is what shows how messed up the whole thing is. To me, it's not that. This is what shows how dumb we are as a society. Right. We are going to choose as a nation. We are going to choose evil, racism, being anti-women. We are going to take a step back as a nation simply because this man is older and stumbles on his words. That is such a, we get everything we deserve.
Well,
we get everything we deserve for that.
You
Well,
played yourself.
and in a pure election season fashion of chaos, bedlam, and mayhem, and everybody screaming that the sky is falling, we were having this same discussion in 2020 after a Trump presidency had already happened. We're acting as if we didn't already see this man on the job. So some of this is just hyperbole and chaos of an election season. But the question really is there enough people in Milwaukee, Detroit, Philly, and in those 3 states to give Trump the election?
Well, what they're telling you now is yes. What they're telling you, but who knows? Because those polls can definitely be off.
Well, because I remember those same polls was telling me that Hillary was going to be the clear winner. She didn't have nothing to worry about.
Right.
You're right. 100% right. So
that
Great
part, hit the button on all of that.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Laura, what you got today?
Just because it's so ridiculous. So I know you haven't heard this name in a long time, but Desiigner, remember when we reported that he was on a plane and he exposed himself, like he was touching himself, and they had to arrest him on the flight because it was just, horrible what he was doing, right? So it was all over the news. So he sat down in an interview and they asked him about it. And this is what he had to say. This was the reason that got him there.
Was it like you thought that it was funny, or was it more something where like you were just fully like tweaked out of your mind and you just didn't know what you were doing?
Yeah, didn't know what I was doing. I was fully tweaked out of my mind. This is when I was vegan. I didn't have enough sugars and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was like I was kind of like out of my body. It was an OBE experience. Like, word, it really wasn't like who my character was, and it's just like, word, bro, I was on medication. I took medication and word, and just went to sleep on the plane.
And so the FBI is waiting for you when you land?
Word, for real.
Hey, he was vegan and he didn't have enough sugar in his body.
He was tweaked out of his mind, plus he was vegan, plus he was on medication. When anybody says you're tweaked, I was tweaked out of my mind, I'm not taking that as prescribed medication.
Sir, I don't know if being vegan had anything to do with that.
Bro, you had 2. First of all, yeah, there's so many things going on there. And also, what I don't like to hear about, I like Desiigner, but all this time has passed, man, and that still sounds like no taking responsibility of the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was your fault. Whatever it was your fault. I don't care.
Who
I don't
was
know.
that interview with?
The great and noble No Jumper podcast.
Oh, well, hey, Desiigner, if you wanted people to feel some type of way about your behavior on a plane, how long ago was this?
The
2 years
plane
ago?
thing? Yeah, happened I think about a year ago.
Pandemic?
I don't know
More.
I don't know why he's popping out doing interviews right now with No Jumper podcast. If you're looking for people to try to come to terms with the behavior you just had.
You know what the whole thing sounds like.
The vegan part is the one that took me out.
Listen, you're hungry.
I was vegan. I was like, what?
Blood sugar was low. I have to immediately
Blood sugar, medication, I'm vegan. It's all this button right here.
Congratulations.
I got a good one. This is a fun one to close it out. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it made me chuckle. Cam Newton went on his podcast and he was goofing around, making fun of not being invited to Christian McCaffrey's wedding. And he was like, "Yo, man, how could I not get invited to C-Mac's wedding?" I don't know if you guys know, but Christian McCaffrey, he married Olivia Culpo, I think, last weekend. Big celeb wedding in Malibu. And Cam's like, "Man, I feel bad," right? He was talking about it. Anyways, in the comments on the video that was moving around about him not being invited, Christian McCaffrey commented. He told a little story. Ebro, you like this? He wrote, "Me talking to Greg Olson at the bar at my wedding. Quote, this was a great night, but you know what would have made it better? Greg, what? Me, if Cam was here. I just haven't gotten a text back in 4 years. I mean, in fact, they just go green now. Greg, take a sip of whiskey. He would have loved it, man. 4 years, even on Instagram? Me. Only once on there, but that doesn't count. Insert laughs. He orders another round while they both sit in silence for 30 seconds. Christian, why doesn't he love me, man? Camera cuts to highlights of Cam and Christian together while With Arms Wide Open by Creed plays. Scene." In other words, Christian McCaffrey has been trying to get a hold of Cam Newton for 4 years. Can't get a hold of him. And then he's like, "Why didn't you invite me to your wedding?" Yo, hit Cam with the button, man. But I just thought that story was good.
People back, man.